Hello everyone, welcome back to this session of English. In this session, we are going to continue with our topic connectors. Now, this is part 16. Well, in our earlier session, we were discussing purpose denoting conjunctions. Now, in this session, we are going to discuss some more types of connectors. In this session, we will discuss purpose denoting prepositions. Well, in our earlier session, we discussed conjunctions, but here there is a slight difference that here we are going to discuss purpose denoting prepositions. So this is the important part of this session. Then we'll discuss types of prepositions denoting purpose. After that, we'll discuss in order to, and after that, we'll discuss so as to. So these two are actually purpose denoting prepositions, which we are going to elaborate in this session. So let's begin this topic. First of all, we'll discuss the definition of the purpose denoting preposition. Purpose denoting prepositions are used to indicate the reason or purpose for which something is done or for which something exists. These prepositions typically introduce a phrase that explains the intention behind an action or situation. It means whenever we are using these prepositions to connect two clauses together, one should contain the action and the other part should contain the purpose behind that action. Or you can say, introduce a phrase that explains the intention behind an action or a situation. These prepositions are essential in conveying the intention behind actions and the statements, helping to clarify the motives or goals in communication. Well, we have several types of prepositions denoting purpose. We can have in order to, then we have so as to. So first we are going to discuss in order to. Now, in order that is a conjunction, whereas in order to is a preposition. So this thing we should keep in mind. We should not mix in order to with in order that. In order that is a conjunction, whereas in order to is a preposition. So this is the most important thing. Meaning of in order to. In order to is a phrase used as a purpose denoting connector. It is utilized to explicitly indicate the reason or objective behind an action. So it is used basically to indicate the reason or objective behind an action. This phrase introduces a clause that explains the purpose of the action mentioned in the preceding clause. So here in the sentence, we can have two clauses in which one clause is just stating the action and another is just showing the purpose behind it. So it is just like a phrase. It is not actually the entire sentence. It is actually the clause in which we have the subject and maybe possible there is a noun or the noun phrase which is exactly defining the purpose. That's it. It helps to make clear intention or goal that motivates the action. For example, now we'll discuss some uses of in order to. Expressing purpose or intention, it clearly states the reason or objective behind an action. For example, she saves money in order to buy a house. Now, if I write in order that will change the structure of the sentence. I can write this sentence like she saves money in order that she could buy a house. Now, here, she could buy a house is the entire sentence. And there are two separate sentences that are being connected with the help of in order that. That is a conjunction. But if I'm using in order to, so in order to is actually a preposition, and after to, I'm simply using a verb which is in the first form, because after to, it is always followed by verb is always in the first form. So she saves money in order to buy a house. This is the difference between in order that and in order to. Introducing result clauses. It leads into clauses that describe the intended outcome of that main action. Example, they arrived early in order to secure seats in the front row. It means their intention was, their purpose was that they wanted to occupy the seats which were in the front row. For that purpose, they arrived early. So their motive was to secure seats. So this to secure. So here in order to is actually the preposition or the connector. That is the purpose denoting preposition. Formal or academic writing, often used in more formal or academic context to articulate the rationale behind actions or decisions. Now, this rationale means the reasons or the principles. The study was conducted in order to assess the impact of the new policy. Now this one is very, very important. Emphasizing deliberateness of action. It means whenever we are using this in order to, we are emphasizing on the motive more rather than action. It highlights that an action is done with a specific purpose in mind. It means whatever has been done, whatever the action has been done, there is a purpose, there is a motive behind it, and the strong motive behind it. So it is done deliberately, or it is not by chance, it is a fully planned action. He took the course in order to improve his job prospects. So his main motive was to improve his job prospects. That is why he took the course. Now he took the course is not just by chance. It was, you can say, intended. It was deliberate. It was his intention to do that. So it is not just by chance or not a random pick. Clarifying cause-effect relationship. It helps in making clear that the cause and effect relationship in a sentence. The city planted more trees in order to improve air quality. Okay, it is elaborate on reasons. When a simple explanation is insufficient, in order to provide some more elaborated reason for the action. The meeting was rescheduled in order to accommodate more participants. So, elaborated on reasons, it means whenever there are several reasons and we want to explain them, we have to use these types of connectors. The meeting was rescheduled. What was the purpose? In order to accommodate more participants. So, this is the reason. So, we have the elaboration part of that. Structure of in order to. The structure of a sentence using in order to as a purpose denoting connector typically follows this pattern. What is the pattern? First of all, we'll have the main clause, then the in order to, and then we have the purpose clause or the purpose. Now, the main clause, this is the part of the sentence that contains the action or situation. After that, we have in order to. This phrase is used as a connector introducing the purpose clause. It bridges the main clause and the purpose clause, indicating the reason behind the action or situation. Purpose clause. This clause explains the purpose or intention behind the action mentioned in the main clause. The purpose clause often contains a verb that describes what the subject intends to achieve or accomplish. For example, she works overtime in order to save more money. Main clause, she works overtime. This is the main clause. So this is the action that she performs. And the thing is, in order to save more money, this is her purpose, because of which she does so. So she works overtime. This is the work that she does, and save more money is her purpose. Examples of in order to. She studies diligently in order to pass her final exams. I wake up early in order to have enough time for a morning jog. We left the house before dawn in order to catch the first train. He saved money for years in order to buy his own house. The research was conducted in order to understand the effects of climate change. The company revised its policy in order to enhance workplace safety. He learned Spanish in order to communicate better while traveling in South America. He learned Spanish in order to communicate better while traveling in South America. She volunteered in various organizations in order to gain more practical experience. The city increased public transportation options in order to reduce traffic congestion. The teacher simplified the lesson in order to make it more understandable for younger students. The meeting time was changed in order to accommodate participants from different time zones. The doctor advised regular exercise in order to improve overall health. Now, I hope this much is clear to you. In order to is clear to you. Now, we'll discuss the use of so as to. So as to is again a purpose denoting preposition. How to use it? Let us discuss in this part. First of all, we'll discuss the meaning of so as to. So as to is a purpose denoting connector used to express the intention or reason behind an action. It means whenever an action has been performed, there must be some motive behind it. So just to state that purpose, we can use a preposition so as to. This is actually the phrase so as to, and or you can say this is a purpose denoting preposition. Similar to in order to, this is somewhere in fact similar or same as in order to. It introduces a clause that explains the purpose or objective of the action mentioned in the main part of the sentence. This connector is useful for clarifying why something is done and helps to outline the goal or desired outcome of the action. Now, uses of so as to. First of all, it is used to express intention or purpose. So this is the primary use of this connector, so as to, that it will show the intention, the purpose or the motive behind the action that has been already performed, that we have mentioned in the main clause. It indicates the reason or goal behind an action. For example, she studies regularly so as to excel in her exams. Now here you can see that what action that she performs, that she studies regularly. So this is the action that she does every day. For what? Why does she study regularly? So as to excel in her exams. Formal writing, often found in more formal or academic texts. It is used to articulate the rationale behind actions or decisions. Now, rationale means reasons or the principles behind anything. The survey was conducted so as to gather means collect comprehensive data on consumer preferences. So, whatever a customer wants, whatever consumer prefers, just to gather that information, just to gather that data, just to collect that data, the survey was conducted. So here so as to is showing the purpose behind this collection, behind this survey. So the purpose behind this survey is to gather comprehensive data or on consumer preferences. Emphasizing deliberateness. Now, as I told you earlier as well, that showing deliberateness is the main part of these type of connectors. Why so? If there is any action that has happened, there can be two chances. Maybe possible that it was random or it was just by chance, or maybe possible that it was done intentionally, purposely, or knowing every fact, knowing everything about it. For example, if somebody performs, you can say any crime. If he just attempt that crime, it can be by chance or it can be full-fledged or fully planned. For example, there can be many accidents or there can be many type of anything that is a crime factor. So the crimes are performed maybe intentionally or just by chance. So there can be two things. But here it emphasizes the deliberateness of that action. Well, I'm taking the example of the crime just to show you the deliberateness or the random part. But it is not actually that I'm just considering those part only. It can be for any action. It highlights that an action is taken with a specific purpose in mind. It means whatever we are doing, we are fully prepared for it. We are just have the complete plan for it. It is a well executed plan. So you can say if we do something, it is not by chance. We have been practicing it for many hours, for many days, or for some time before the action. It highlights that action is taken with a specific purpose in mind. The organization streamlined its process so as to improve efficiency. So what organization has been doing? Just streamlining its process. But the main purpose behind it was to improve efficiency. So that shows the deliberateness that it has been done just because it was in mind. For example, she did not bring her book so as to avoid homework. So she did not bring her notebook or bring her book. So this was uh, planned. It was not by chance, just because she wanted to uh, hide her homework, or she wanted to hide from her teachers that she has not done the homework. So this is actually the style that she has done this activity intentionally. Now, clarifying goals and objectives. When a clear explanation of objectives is required, we can use so as to. So, this is again something very important. For example, the training was conducted so as to enhance the skills of the employees. So, the training was conducted. So, this was done for what? So, this is the action. So, this is the main clause. Main clause always contains the action. And the purpose behind this is that enhance the skills of the employees. Introducing result clause. It leads into clauses that specify the intended result of the main action. For example, they arrived early so as to secure good seats at the event. So they arrived early. This is the action. So as to secure. So secure is actually the purpose. So why did they come early? Just because they wanted good seats at the event. So they wanted to secure many seats. So this was their purpose. Therefore, they arrived early. Structure of so as to. First of all, we'll have the main clause. Then after that, we have the so as to structure. And after that, we'll have the purpose clause. Main clause. This part of the sentence describes the primary action or situation. Purpose clause. This clause explains the purpose or intention behind the action mentioned in the main clause. Usually, it contains a verb that describes what the subject intends to achieve or accomplish. It means here the phrase will be like subject plus verb, or maybe possible if there is a purpose clause, we will only have the verb, not the subject. Because if I say so as to buy, now here I can say to buy. Buy is actually the verb. Sorry, buy is actually verb, and this is actually the infinitive part. Now, example, she practices daily so as to improve her skills. So we cannot have noun, we can only have a verb. She practices daily, it should be every day. She practices every day so as to improve her skills. Main clause, she practices every day. Purpose clause, improve her skills. So this is the purpose. Now, many times you must have seen that I write wrong sentences so as to make you understand that this is incorrect and how to identify the incorrectness of the sentence and how to rectify it, so as to make you rectify the sentence. So if I write the sentences wrong, this is just behind with the main purpose. My purpose is to make you rectify the sentence so as you will understand, so that you will understand the incorrectness of the sentence. Rules associated with so as to. Expressing clear purpose, so as to should be used to clearly indicate the intention or reason behind an action. The purpose it introduces should be directly related to the action in the main clause. It should not mismatch with that. Sentence structure. Ensure that the sentence has two clear parts, the main clause, that is the action clause, and the purpose clause, that is the reason or the goal connected by so as to. Alternatives. Be careful while using alternative connectors like to, in order to, so that, which can sometimes be used interchangeably with so as to, depending on the context and desired formality. Now we can use any of the you can say any of these alternatives, but the main thing is the entire structure. For example, if I'm using so as to, it should not be mixed with so that. Suppose I write so that to, that will be incorrect. So be very careful while using these alternatives. Examples of so as to. So here we are going to discuss some examples of so as to. The first one is he arrived early so as to get a good seat. So what was his reason? What was his purpose? So the purpose was to get a good seat. The committee revised its procedures so as to ensure greater transparency. So the main motive behind this revision is just to ensure greater transparency. She studied the material thoroughly so as to understand the complex concepts. The company implemented new technologies so as to improve efficiency. He reduced the price of the product so as to attract more customers. Now, alternatively, we can say he reduced the price of the product to attract more customers. So, both the sentences are correct. We can use any of these. So, we can have the alternative sentence as well. So, I hope you understood all the sentences very clearly, all the alternatives that have been used. Now, you know well how to use these connectors in your sentences. Well, in our later sessions, we'll discuss some more connectors and their examples and their usage. Thanks to you.